Mass migration is sending men insane. Here's exactly how. So, this is kind of a taboo topic. Most psychologists are on the left, and they will point to studies which show that migrants have worse mental health. This is just not debatable in terms of levels of schizophrenia, anxiety, depression, violent crime, if we include that, etc. But what people don't talk about is how host populations also suffer. I think particularly in terms of mental health, men suffer in those populations. Of course, this is not to say it's the only cause of mental health problems. You know, Ahmed and Ahmad aren't causing your mental health problems if you haven't touched grass or been at the gym in a year. Let's be honest, mate. However, it is a factor, and I'm also definitely not belittling, the physical health problems caused by migrants on women. The safety issues around that, I think, are rightly in the spotlight now. But just for today, focusing on men's mental health. Why is mass migration bad for men's mental health? But on a personal note, I've been on both sides of this. I've lived in heavily migrant Pakistani areas of the UK, and I've been a migrant. Right now, actually, I'm in Slovenia, so I can see this from a couple of sides. All right, here's the key thing. What makes someone sane? Well, there's four main things I'm going to get into. Perhaps the most important one, though, is co-regulation. So we tend to think of self-regulation, getting ourselves together. We're sort of asked to do that a lot in society now. Go do yoga, go meditate, mindfulness. It's not the main thing. The main thing that keeps people sane is community, is collectiveness, togetherness, tribe, a sense of shared values and norms. So that does not exist in a multicultural society. Multicultural societies send people crazy. Everyone in those societies, not just the new people in, but also the people on the receiving end. Host populations also will often have a sense of violation. Lefty mates, listen up. You need to understand this. This is why people are shouting and angry and full of rage. That is a completely normal and appropriate response to violation. Mass migration is a violation for people because they haven't consented to it. They haven't voted for it, they haven't asked for it, they voted against it. In fact, every chance we fucking get, yet still it happens. So that is a violation. That is the right word. Now, part of the job of men in particular is setting boundaries. It's setting an edge, setting a line, saying this is okay, this is not okay, defending the frontier, defending the perimeter, some people in men's work call it. This is a primary job of masculinity. So if men feel like that border isn't defended, they will get angry. So if you take a bone off a dog, it will get angry. It's a very basic emotion. So this is a normal and healthy response to violation. If people feel like they can't do something about it, that creates a feeling of powerlessness. There's a sort of learned helplessness for successive governments who keep doing the same thing. So for mental health, not having a feeling of efficacy or powerful power or being able to control your environment, in this case from invaders who are seen as hostile, who are doing things particularly to women and children, obviously very, very bad for women and children, but for the men there's also that sense of it's women and children. Again, friends on the left, people on the right, most people, actually most normal people, particularly working class people in the UK, Holland, Germany, wherever you're watching this, feel that a family is being violated. That's what a nation is. It's not a passport, it's not a piece of dirt, it's an extended family. Yeah? So imagine someone was breaking into your house, hurting your family, and there was nothing you could do about it. On top of that, you were told you're a bad person, because that's all far right. That's all it means now. Racist, that's all it means now. It means you're going against this mainstream narrative that says, actually, you shouldn't defend your family. There's people breaking into your home, hurting your loved ones. You're being gaslit. This word from psychology is often overused by women, but gaslighting, someone saying you're insane, trying to make you feel like you're insane, denying basic reality. We see the reality in the streets. We see it. We go, this is bad. This is not good. People are being hurt. This is making us poorer. This is making our society less cohesive. So people are being gaslit about it. People are being told they're crazy or told they're bad, being told you're morally bad or insane or just stupid. Oh, that Tommy Robinson is really stupid. I don't think that. I don't think the working class people are upset about migrant hotels are stupid. Yeah. I do think they're dysregulated. Their nervous system is dysregulated by this violation, plus the gaslighting on top of that. I'm getting a bit dysregulated now. Take a breath, yeah? take a breath. No point stressing out about it. So when we're in that stressed state, we're less well psychologically. We're in that fight or flight response, which may actually be appropriate, may be a time to fight, for example, but couldn't possibly suggest anything legal. The whole channel's against you doing anything legal. Definitely don't do that. So legal bits covered. Co-regulation. There's also co-dysregulation. Yeah, I know what this is like. In communities that have been colonized, let's say, is you get dysregulated. This could just be like little facial gestures, like I'm in Slovenia today, right, temporarily. And when I go into a shop, someone might not smile. I try and use their language, but it's a bit awkward. So there's a language barrier. Maybe they're embarrassed to use English. Maybe it's just little social norms. That stuff adds up. That's constant 5-10 times a day co-dysregulation, as opposed to bantering with the girl in Costa where I used to live and she sort of gets me, or having a little complaint with someone, sort of just getting the social the vibe, right? Getting the little bits of co-regulation throughout the day. That doesn't happen in a multicultural society. That makes everyone nuts. So as well as the more extreme stuff, feeling, I think, rightly under threat. If you say, look at the stats, which say Afghani migrants are 20 times more likely to commit certain kinds of offences we won't name on here than British people, for example. Yeah. That is the threat. There is an actual threat which puts people into fight flight mode. Neocortex turns off, limbic hijack. You could look up the neuroscience. It ain't good. It ain't good for your mental health. As well as that sort of more extreme threat stuff, there's also just the day-to-day, my God, these people are rude, or they don't get this, or I can't quite connect with this person. Yeah, that doesn't make anyone mentally well. So we're co-regulated in this way, or co-dysregulated by living in a multicultural society, which really means no culture. It's not really multiculture. We have to have shared connection with people. Migrants also don't have what I'd call eco-regulation, the same connection to place. You see this in the way people kind of litter or just treat the place badly, don't look after the environment in the same way. There isn't that eco-regulation for them. And remember, being around dysregulated people is also dysregulating, right? So maybe they've come from a war zone and got trauma. I've worked in war zones. I've got sympathy for people running away from a war, yeah? Maybe they've just come from somewhere very poor, right? A lot of them, I don't think, are really running away from actual wars, yeah? In some cases they are, though, but they're away from home. They don't have that nature connection, and that means they're dysregulated, and that spreads. That's why it's stressful to be around stressful people. You've been around, just like, think of like when you're on a train, it's late or it's early in your commute and it's full of stressed people. That stress spreads. That's what it's like being around people who are far away from home, not with their values and norms either. Last one, theoregulation. So we've got self-regulation, can't lean on that too heavily, though, it can help, right? Do your meditation and yoga. Co-regulation, that's been gradually smashed, really since industrialization, but particularly the last 20, 30 years, say in the UK or Germany, many places, the death of the community. Of course, technology is another factor here, that's made us all dysregulated. Third, eco-regulation, particularly in cities, people don't have that. And fourth, people are godless heathens now. People don't have a sense of meaning or purpose. People don't have that sense of a higher power. That's in our materialist, nihilistic society, that is not there. So people are also dysregulated because of that, yeah? So there's a bunch of factors. We can't just blame migrants for the fact that we're all crazy, but it doesn't help. Also, another really big one here is economics. Men as well as protectors, remember that's been violated, also have a sense of being providers. These are the most natural, normal, healthy things in the world for men. Why would it be damaged by mass migration? Well, just economics, right? Economics. Why do rich people, whatever political party they're from, love mass migration? Because it makes their rents go up, right? It makes the wages go down. You've got two people competing for a job. This means that people are less well off now. This is obvious in the UK and in many countries. Whatever the stats say, it's just obvious. NHS, schooling, the infrastructure. People are less wealthy now, combined with cost of living. Half of the cost of living is the cost of migration, right? Why do you think things cost more? It's pretty obvious supply and demand stuff to me, but obviously there's more to it than that. but this is a factor, and I think people really need to talk about this. Last factor here, other than the sort of economic stuff, is the cultural stuff. So why does mass migration and shitting on men go together? The state is in competition with men for that protection and provision. And media, which of course is backed by the money power, loves making men look bad because men are the border and boundary setters. You'll see this particularly working class men. They're the ones saying enough, no more, send back the boats, go home. They're the ones saying enough. So the media likes to shit on men to reduce masculinity so that we don't do that. Look at any Hollywood film, right? Men are, nearly all Hollywood films now, men are just sort of incompetent, don't have that masculine strength. This is not unrelated to the migration issue. Every British advert, it's always a foreign guy with a native woman. Why? Like 80% of the time. Why? Why is that? Again, it's increasing that feeling of violation, that feeling of powerlessness, and saying men are either stupid or bad, you're all toxic. Don't defend your borders, put your masculinity away. That's not needed. Embrace the migration, which is cashing in for certain groups of people. All right, that's the basics. Bit of a passionate one. We do need to talk about this. Mass migration is bad for our mental health and men's mental health in particular.